An 8-year-old black boy, frail, homeless, and often scorned, risked everything to save a young white girl from traffickers at the school gate. Though he was beaten, he used his last ounce of strength to help her escape through a narrow path behind the cornfield. Later, in a decaying shack deep in the fields, the two children huddled together through the long, cold night. Before we dive into this story, let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear your thoughts. A scream tore through the quiet morning air. Sam, a thin, 8-year-old black boy, dashed like an arrow towards the school gate. His bare feet were caked with mud. He didn't care about the sharp pebbles cutting into his heels. Ahead of him, Lily Vance, a 7-year-old blonde girl, stood frozen before a well-dressed man with a chillingly friendly smile. His hand offered a teddy bear, but his eyes gleamed with a cold, calculating intent. "No! Don't, little girl, don't go near them!" Sam yelled, his voice high-pitched and frantic. He knew exactly who this man was and his purpose. Sam's heart pounded in his chest, adrenaline surging through him. The man, Vincent, and his two large, heavily tattooed henchmen whirled around. Vincent's fake smile vanished, revealing a cruel, brutal expression. He snarled, gesturing to his companions. Sam lunged forward, grabbing Lily's hand and pulling her back. "He's a bad guy. He'll take you away. He's a trafficker. Lily, run!" Sam cried out, trying to push her further away. "You brat! You dare mess with us?" one of the henchmen roared, his massive hand swinging down with a powerful punch. Sam, small and frail, had no chance to fight back. He knew he couldn't win, but he still dove in, shielding Lily with his body. Steel-hard punches and powerful kicks rained down on Sam's small frame. He felt his bones ache, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth, but he still clung tightly to Lily, refusing to let go. Lily shrieked in horror, tears streaming down her face, clutching Sam's shirt, feeling every blow land on his small body. "Run, Lily, don't look back," Sam whispered, his voice hoarse with pain, but his eyes still burned with fierce determination. He mustered all his strength, pushing Lily hard towards the cornfield. "Find the small path behind the cornfield. Run!" Lily struggled, tears blurring her vision, but she still saw Sam fighting back so she could escape. She obeyed Sam's words, running frantically into the narrow trail that led into the towering cornfields. Sam continued to resist, taking more blows to buy Lily time. Finally, when Lily was out of sight, Sam was knocked unconscious, lying in a small pool of blood. Vincent, his face a mix of fury and shock as his target slipped away, signaled his largest henchman to stay and deal with Sam, while he and the other man quickly chased Lily into the cornfield. He couldn't afford to lose such a lucrative prize. Hours later, as Sam woke up in the dark shack, memories of that morning rushed back like a whirlwind. The aching pain in his body reminded him of the fateful moment at the school gate. But to understand why a homeless boy like him would risk his life to save a stranger, one must go back to the days before. The town of Fairfield, where Sam and Lily lived, was a stark contrast. In the north, paved roads stretched beneath shady trees, and elegant houses hid behind white picket fences, like jewels in a glass case. Golden sunlight bathed every rooftop, painting a picture of prosperity and peace. This was a world of abundance, where every worry seemed to be confined to neighborhood association meetings or choosing curtain colors. Lily Vance, 7 years old, lived in that world. She grew up sheltered, carefree, and innocent, completely unaware of the town's dark corners. A few miles away, to the south of town, where paved roads gave way to muddy dirt paths, another world struggled to greet each morning's light. Makeshift homes, built from plywood and rusty corrugated iron, crowded together like scars on the barren land. Most residents here were poor laborers, primarily people of color, living day to day in deprived conditions, often forgotten or viewed with suspicion from the other side of town. Sam, an 8-year-old black boy, lived in this world. He had been homeless since he was 6. Sam's mother passed away from acute pneumonia after days without money for medicine. His father, an immigrant construction worker, collapsed and disappeared without a trace, leaving Sam all alone. From then on, Sam learned to survive by instinct. His sleep was short naps under rotting bridges, in damp, dilapidated abandoned houses, or hidden in dense bushes along the smelly river. His bare feet were caked with mud, and the deep calluses on his heels were clear proof of his nomadic life. Sam had learned to read people's eyes, to scavenge leftover food from closed stalls, and especially to recognize danger from the smallest signs, an essential survival skill. Early one morning, not long before the incident at the school gate, Eleanor Vance, Lily's mother, went shopping at the market. She was confident in her designer coat and expensive handbag. Raised in a respectable family, Eleanor believed that success and social status were measures of a person's worth. She wanted to protect her daughter from any negative influences from those she considered not of her class. This view had deeply ingrained itself in her mind. At a bustling fruit stall, Sam, famished and longing for the plump red apples, mustered up his courage and approached Eleanor. "Excuse me, ma'am." His voice was soft. "Could you spare a few coins, please? I'm so hungry." Eleanor frowned, a look of discomfort clearly visible on her beautiful face. She glanced at Sam from head to toe with disdain. "Go on!" Her voice was cold, sharp, loud enough for a few onlookers to turn their heads. "Don't bother people. You look so dirty and ragged you're probably just idling around. Didn't your parents teach you anything?" She pulled Lily's hand, shooing Sam away as if he were a disease, her eyes filled with prejudice. Sam recoiled, a mix of hurt and the familiar, hardened resignation. He was too used to such looks and words. He turned to leave, trying to swallow the bitterness. But then, as Eleanor was busy paying, Lily secretly reached into her pocket, pulling out a bright red strawberry candy. Quick as a flash, she placed the candy into Sam's skinny hand, her eyes wide with sympathy and a hint of shyness. Sam looked at the candy, then up at Lily with a surprised, deeply grateful look. A small, weak, but sincere smile flickered across his chapped lips. Thank you, little girl," Sam mumbled. Lily just nodded slightly, quickly pulling her hand back as her mother turned to look. That moment, for Sam, was a rare, warm light. The candy became a treasure. From that instant, Sam began to notice Lily, making her a bright spot in his otherwise dark life. Sam often roamed around the market and deserted streets, not just to find food but also to gather information. He had a keen sixth sense for danger. Over the past few weeks, a growing unease had settled within him. Sam started to notice a suspicious group of people. They often loitered in parks, near schools, or places where children frequented, carrying candies and attractive toys to lure them. Sam had learned about these individuals from older homeless people, who had warned him about an organized child trafficking ring operating in the area. They not only kidnapped for ransom but also served more horrific trafficking networks, such as organ harvesting or forcing children into forced labor. Sam had witnessed them multiple times luring and coercing small children into old vans, either without license plates or with crudely scrawled markings. They operated with extreme cunning, often posing as charity workers, volunteers, or recruiters for fake extracurricular classes. Sam had tried to report them. Once he saw them loitering near a playground. "Sir, there are some strange people luring children in the park," Sam ran to a kind vegetable vendor, his voice trembling with urgency. "I saw them putting some kids into a van." The vendor just looked at him with suspicion. "You little brat. Don't make up stories. Go find a place to stay." Another time he tried to tell a patrolling police officer nearby, "Officer, there's a gang kidnapping children in this area. I saw them near the school." Sam said, his breath short. The officer glanced coldly at the boy, not even bothering to look him in the eye. "You're a street kid. What do you know? Go away, don't bother my work." The helplessness and frustration of not being believed added to the burden of Sam's loneliness. He understood that if anything happened, he would have to act on his own. He couldn't just stand by and watch. That morning, the morning of the fateful moment, after Lily was dropped off by her mother at the school gate, Mrs. Eleanor quickly drove away. "I have an urgent meeting. You go into school first, and remember to come home on time." She was unaware that an old green van, without a license plate, had been following her car from a distance and was now parked out of sight. The leader, a man named Vincent, 35 years old, with a neatly trimmed dark beard, and his two large, heavily tattooed henchmen, had thoroughly researched Lily's schedule and habits, as well as the school gate's blind spot. At the same time, Sam, feeling uneasy after weeks of observing this strange group, had quietly followed Lily to the school gate. He knew Lily had a habit of lingering for a bit before going into class. A gut feeling told him something was wrong. Lily skipped merrily into the gate, but instead of heading straight to class, she was drawn to a group of people standing near the gate, handing out free candy and toys. The spot where Lily stood talking to the stranger was a small, secluded corner next to the parent parking lot, where the view from the main school entrance was obscured by tall trees and a line of parked cars. This was the perfect blind spot that Vincent and his accomplices had chosen. Vincent, in a polite gray shirt, offered a friendly smile. "Hello, dear, do you want some candy? Or this toy?" He held out a small pink teddy bear, a limited edition that Lily had longed for. In his palm, a small hidden cloth soaked in anesthetic. Lily's eyes lit up. She had been taught not to take things from strangers, but this man seemed kind, and he was even at the school gate. "Yes, Lily hesitated, reaching out to take the teddy bear. At that exact moment, Sam appeared, and his scream tore through the quiet air, bringing the story back to the dramatic introduction. After Sam collapsed, the kidnappers quickly chased Lily into the cornfield. Their furious shouts echoed in the silent space. Lily ran and ran, the angry shouts of her pursuers and the sounds of Sam being beaten still ringing in her ears. She didn't know where she was going, only running on instinct, following Sam's last desperate instruction. Her ragged breaths tore at her small lungs, her heart pounding in her chest as if it would burst. She stumbled multiple times on the uneven ground, her clothes covered in mud and leaves, but still managed to get up and keep running. The sheer terror made her dare not stop. Lily's bright, safe world had completely crumbled. Vincent and the remaining henchmen were close behind, the snapping of dry branches under their feet adding to Lily's terror. Both men were professional predators, and they wouldn't give up easily. Finally, in utter desperation, Lily found an old, dilapidated, decaying, abandoned shack in the vast cornfield. This was one of the old shacks Sam often used for shelter, which he had alluded to when directing Lily. Despite her fear, she managed to find a safe hiding spot. The shack was damp, dark, reeking of mildew and wet earth. Rotten wood and rusty corrugated iron created a cramped space filled with cobwebs and dust. Lily held her breath, pressing herself into the darkest corner, trying not to make any sound. She heard Vincent and his henchmen brushing past right outside the shack, their curses echoing as they realized they had lost her trail. They searched around for a while, then continued further, their footsteps slowly fading into the night. Perhaps assuming she had run much farther, or found a better hiding place. Luck had smiled upon Lily in that crucial moment. She huddled in the corner, trembling and sobbing, calling out for her mother and Sam in vain. Hours later, as night had completely fallen, Lily was still in the shack, hungry and cold. The chirping of night insects and the whistling wind through the rotting cracks in the door only intensified her loneliness and fear. Lily began to despair. Sam was nowhere to be found. Suddenly, there were limping, heavy footsteps outside. Lily held her breath, her heart pounding. The door creaked open. "Lily, little girl, it's Sam." A weak, broken voice echoed. Sam stumbled into the shack, covered in mud, with large bruises clearly visible on his swollen face and arms. Dried blood stained the corner of his mouth. He had regained consciousness after being beaten, and with what little strength he had left, he managed to find his way to the shack he had told Lily about. The henchman Vincent had left behind had left after thinking Sam was dead or no longer worth bothering with, giving Sam a chance to recover and find his way. Sam collapsed as soon as he stepped inside, completely exhausted, panting like a wounded animal. Lily rushed to him, hugging Sam, disregarding the mud and dried blood on his body. "Sam, are you okay? I was so scared, I thought." Lily sobbed, her voice choked. Sam managed a weak smile, his eyes tired but still trying to reassure Lily. "It's okay, as long as you're safe." He pulled out the strawberry candy Lily had given him that morning from his torn pocket. The candy was slightly dented but still intact, like a small miracle. "Little girl, eat, get your strength back," Sam whispered. Then with his last ounce of strength, he managed to offer Lily a small plastic bottle with a little water he had found. In that dark, cold shack, Sam, despite being severely injured and exhausted, sheltered Lily. He tried to comfort her with small stories, words of encouragement. I don't have a home," Sam whispered, his voice hoarse with pain. "My mom died early. My dad left. I had to take care of myself. No one believed me." Lily listened, tears streaming down her face. She began to understand the harshness of the outside world and Sam's extraordinary, selfless courage. A sense of guilt welled up as she remembered how her mother had treated Sam that morning. My mom wasn't nice to you either," Lily mumbled. Sam weakly shook his head. "It's okay, you're not like them." A naive understanding began to form in her young mind. A person's worth isn't in the clothes they wear or the house they live in. The long night passed with the whistling wind, the chirping of insects, and unending fear. The two children huddled together for warmth and comfort. Sam, despite the pain, tried to stay awake to protect Lily. He coughed occasionally, then drifted off for brief moments, but still forced his eyes open to look at Lily. Lily cared for Sam with everything she had, using her handkerchief to wipe the dried blood from Sam's face, massaging his bruised arm. As morning approached, Sam gradually drifted into a deeper unconsciousness due to his injuries and exhaustion. Lily panicked, trying to shake Sam awake, but he no longer responded. She could only cling tightly to him, sobbing in the dark, praying for a miracle to come to her young hero. When Eleanor Vance returned to the school to pick up Lily after her meeting, her heart clenched. Lily wasn't there. Her SUV skidded to a halt at the school gate, and she called her daughter's name in vain, her voice hoarse. The fear of losing her daughter completely overshadowed all other thoughts. Now, in her mind, there was only the image of Lily, her precious daughter, and the worst possible scenario. She ran along the road, calling Lily's name, tears streaming down her face. The distant wail of police sirens began, offering no comfort, only intensifying her overwhelming fear. The police quickly mobilized, launching a widespread search. David Vance, Lily's father, was also there, his face pale with worry. He was usually a calm, rational man, but now his eyes were red from sleeplessness and anxiety. He tried to reassure his wife, but he himself was on the verge of despair. "You need to calm down, Eleanor. The police are working," David said, his voice also trembling. How can I calm down? Where's my Lily? What am I going to do?" Eleanor screamed, despair tearing at her soul. They found Lily's backpack abandoned near the school gate. It was a small clue. A few witnesses, an old newspaper vendor on the corner, a delivery man later vaguely recounted a fleeting scuffle in a strange van. They hadn't realized the gravity of the situation at the time, thinking it was just a minor argument. It wasn't until Lily was absent from class and the teacher reported her to the school office about 15 minutes after class began, and then the school contacted Mrs. Eleanor, that the real panic set in. That delay had created enough time for the kidnappers to act and escape. As the search spread, Eleanor, in her extreme panic, began to remember. She recalled Sam's hungry face at the market, his urgent plea, and how she had scorned him. A vague, cold sense of guilt began to creep into her heart. Had she overlooked a sign? Had her own arrogance and prejudice put her daughter in danger? The fear of losing her child mingled with the torment of her conscience. Every police siren, every unclear phone call, dug deeper into her suffering and self-reproach. David also realized this. He looked at his wife with eyes that were both sympathetic and understanding. He had once believed in similar prejudices, though he hadn't expressed them as harshly as Eleanor. What if that boy, Sam, was telling the truth? Eleanor whispered, her voice faltering. David looked at her, saying nothing, but his eyes were full of thought. He immediately asked the police to review the security cameras in the area. It wasn't until night had completely fallen, the last rays of sun giving way to gloomy darkness, that a search party, including Lily's parents and the police, finally followed blood trails and small footprints deep into the cornfield. They groped in the dark, only flashlights guiding their way. When they reached the old dilapidated shack in the middle of the field, the sight that met their eyes left Eleanor and David stunned, choked with emotion. Lily sat huddled, her face streaked with mud and tears, trembling and clinging tightly to the unconscious Sam. The boy was covered in bruises, weak and trembling. In that moment, all of Mrs. Eleanor's prejudices, all her arrogance crumbled completely, vanishing like mist. She saw her daughter safe, frail but alive, thanks to the very boy she had driven away and scorned just hours before. The overwhelming fear she had just experienced now gave way to a surge of emotion, stronger than ever, profound remorse and boundless gratitude. She didn't care that her expensive clothes were stained. She rushed over, kneeling beside Sam. She grasped his thin, cold hand, sobbing, "My boy! Oh my God, you saved my daughter!" Her voice broke with each sob, each one an apology for past prejudices. She gently stroked his messy, muddy hair, her hot tears falling onto Sam's face. I'm so sorry. I didn't believe you. I misunderstood you. You are our hero." Sam, though still weak, slowly opened his eyes and looked at her. His eyes still held fear and pain, but also a hint of relief at seeing Lily safe and the worried faces around him. Lily stood beside him, holding Sam's hand tightly, her eyes red from crying. "That's right. You're a hero," Lily whispered, her voice choked from crying too much but full of pride. Medical personnel and police quickly arrived. Sam was rushed to the emergency room immediately. At the hospital, doctors reported that Sam had a mild concussion, numerous bruises, and severe exhaustion, but fortunately no life-threatening internal injuries. The Vance family stayed by Sam's bedside. Eleanor was no longer the cold woman she had been. She personally spoon-fed him porridge, wiped his face, not caring about curious glances or whispers from others. Mr. David also visited frequently, bringing small toys he thought Sam would like, and good books Sam might never have had the chance to read. They hired the best lawyer to protect Sam's rights, ensuring he wouldn't have to return to life on the streets. During Sam's hospitalization, the story of the incident quickly spread throughout the town and beyond, on national media outlets. Security camera footage near the school gate captured Sam bravely rushing to warn Lily, and also him single-handedly confronting the traffickers afterward. The testimonies of Lily and Sam, once he recovered, exposed the full truth about the trafficking ring. They targeted children from disadvantaged backgrounds or careless families, with the aim of organ trafficking and child slavery. This incident not only caused a sensation, but also sparked a fierce debate in the community about social prejudice, injustice towards street children, and individual responsibility. Following an intense search and based on clues from security cameras as well as the testimonies of Sam and Lily, the police swiftly apprehended Vincent and all his accomplices. They were arrested while attempting to leave town via a back road. During the search, police found clear evidence of the child trafficking network they were involved in. These individuals faced serious charges of kidnapping, assault, and participation in a transnational criminal organization. They were publicly tried and received appropriate sentences, ensuring they paid for their crimes. The case became a powerful wake-up call about human trafficking and the urgent need to protect children. The public reacted strongly. A wave of support for Sam erupted. Online communities and charitable organizations hailed Sam as a hero, calling for help for the boy. Thousands of people contributed money, supplies, and volunteered for activities supporting homeless children. At the same time, Eleanor also faced intense public criticism for her initial discriminatory attitude. But she didn't shy away. On a national television program, Eleanor publicly admitted her mistakes. Speaking about her profound remorse and the lessons Sam had taught her, "I was once blinded by my prejudices," she said, her voice trembling but firm. "I didn't trust a child simply because of his appearance, and I almost lost my daughter because of that selfishness. Sam didn't just save my child, he saved my conscience. He is a reminder that kindness and courage can exist anywhere, regardless of background or skin color." Her sincere words created a wave of empathy and forgiveness from the community. After Sam had fully recovered, the Vance family, especially Eleanor and David, made a momentous decision, one that would change all their lives. They decided to adopt Sam. At first, Sam was very confused and hesitant. He wasn't used to a life of abundance, with regular meals, clean clothes, a soft bed. He still kept his old habits, never touching food until everyone else had eaten, always sitting timidly in a corner of the room, sometimes startled by sudden noises. He often had nightmares reliving the beatings, the cold nights, and the terrible loneliness on the streets. "Mom, I don't know what to do," Sam whispered to Eleanor one evening as she sat by his bed. "I've never had my own room." Eleanor gently stroked his hair. "It's okay, son. You'll get used to it. This is your home now. I'll be here with you." David often spent time with Sam, teaching him to play chess, soccer, games Sam had never had the chance to experience. "Here's how you hold the bat, Sam," David patiently instructed Sam in the backyard. "Try again." He listened to the boy's fears, helping him gradually overcome the past traumas. They took Sam shopping for new clothes, gave him his own room with all the amenities and toys, and enrolled him in school. Sam learned to read, write, and do math, things he had only dreamed of before. Gradually, Sam began to open up more. He started to smile more often, genuine smiles, no longer forced. The relationship between Sam and Lily grew as close as true siblings. Lily helped Sam with his homework, patiently explaining difficult concepts. "Sam, this problem is easy," Lily pointed to the book. "Look, you just need to add these two numbers." Sam, with his quick wit and street smarts, often protected Lily from bullies at school, teaching her lessons about strength and resilience, about how to recognize good people from bad. He gradually came to believe that this was a real home, a place where he was loved and safe, where he no longer had to fear hunger or cold nights. Eleanor not only made amends to Sam but also became a powerful social activist. She established the Sam's Fund, a charitable organization dedicated to supporting homeless children and victims of human trafficking. She traveled everywhere to give speeches, speaking out against racial discrimination and social prejudice. She used her own family's story as a living lesson about remorse and compassion. David also used his business influence to support the fund's projects, creating jobs and opportunities for those in need, helping them start anew. One evening, while watching cartoons with Lily in the cozy living room, Sam turned to Lily. "Do you think people can truly change, Lily?" Sam asked, his voice deep and calm. Lily looked at him, shaking her head. "I don't know about everyone, but Mom has changed, and so have I. You've taught us so much, Sam." Weeks passed. Sam still called Lily's parents Mr. Vance and Mrs. Vance. Finally, one day, as Eleanor was reading to Sam before bed, Sam hesitated. "Mom, I'm sleepy." Eleanor froze for a moment, then she hugged Sam tightly, tears welling up with happiness. David, witnessing the scene, quietly wiped his own eyes. On the day Sam received his official papers, formally becoming a legal member of the Vance family, he stood silently, his eyes glistening with tears, as the judge smiled and congratulated him. He felt an unusual warmth in his chest. "You don't owe us anything," David said, hugging Sam tightly, "but you've given us everything." And Lily whispered to Sam that night, as they lay in bed getting ready to sleep, "I don't even want to think about what would have happened if you hadn't come." Sam smiled, holding the small yellow toy bus Lily had given him as a playful gesture, a symbol of his new beginning. "Promise me one thing," he said. "Anything," Lily replied, looking directly into his eyes. "Never judge anyone by their appearance or their status," Sam said, his voice deep, loaded with all he had been through. Lily nodded, engraving those words in her heart, and Sam added, "But always trust your heart in what's right." Sam, the boy once overlooked and treated differently because of his background and skin color, ultimately became the one who saved a life, and in return was given a life filled with love, opportunity, and a true family. He found a better place where his courage and compassionate heart were cherished, and his story became a living testament to the power of human connection and redemption. Join us to share meaningful stories by hitting the like and subscribe buttons.